Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Chico chapter. My name is Tim Sharkey. I'm one of the organizers and the MC today. This is 1 Million Cups put on by the Kaufman Foundation, and we do this every week and Wednesday, as well as another 163 other chapters across the United States. It's a platform that's free and it's open to the public. Anyone can come and present once you apply and you talk to our coaches, and we give you a little support to how to present and also to know what you're asking for once you do present, because this is a place that's open for you and a safe place to find out what it takes to create your idea and bring it to fruition. So at the end of your presentations, you have an ask to the community, and that's what we ask all of you, the audience, is to bring other friends, family, and business leaders to this presentation. If you can, that would be very nice, to help share your successes and failures with everyone trying to jump in the entrepreneurial pool of awesomeness. So, we'd like to thank our organizers that help us every week. So myself, MC, I'm with Chico Start. Wendy Porter, she's our director at Chico Start. We have Danny Schwartz, she helps with all our social media marketing. We have Kent Hastings, but he's more of a sponsor because he does his stuff. I have to update my list, I'm sorry. Heather Oogie with the Chamber of Commerce. And we also have Miss Eva Shepard with Chico Start as well now. And our sponsors. Let's put Kent to the top for all his technical audio video time and expertise for helping us with all our video work. It's very much appreciated, Kent. And then we also have Garden Villa Cafe, which we are here today, having awesome coffee every week. And we also have Chico Start. Well, I did bring them up already. Now, I just haven't had my coffee yet today. I'm sorry. I really haven't.
Million and one.
So I was saying, this is the open platform put on by the Kaufman Foundation. It happens every week. So with that, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that this is a special place for myself, because I've done 3 different pitches, and I've probably got 3 more that I want to do, present the ideas and get feedback on. So please, if you do find somebody, tell them just to come and sit in the background and enjoy this kind of atmosphere, because you don't have this every day or every place or every community. So we're very lucky to have this here. So I want to thank all the sponsors and the organizers that help every week, because it makes me feel good. So this week, we have a very special presenter. They are out of Grass Valley. The company's name is Augmntr, and we have Lafe and Alex. They work in augmented reality and virtual reality with display technologies. They help create friendly user tool sets, solving today's real-world problems, and we're going to see what those problems are in just a few minutes. They also have their clients include L3 Communications and General Dynamics. They also help map out the Santa Rosa Tubbs fire, and they're going to show us all their awesome technology, and hopefully we get to try some of it afterwards ourselves. So ladies and gentlemen, Lafe and Alex with Augmntr. I lost my copy. Oh, now we're supposed to pass.
No worries. Okay, folks, well, welcome. Thank you for having us. I'm Lafe. This is Alex. We are the co-founders of Augmntr. I have a clicker right here, and I will pew. I'm going to say a couple things in the beginning. Obviously, we're a startup. We've been in business now for a couple of years. And as startup people, we tend to kind of challenge the rules. So I will automatically be challenging the be done in 6 to 10 minute rule. I'm asking for some forbearance up front, largely because I've got some embedded videos here that I'd like to kind of show and let them play. And that'll take a little longer than kind of, bang, 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 get through 4 charts. Pew. And this thing is going ding, ding, ding at me, probably because it is on a different page. I think I got it. Perhaps. Pew. No, it's still dinging at me. Forget that. Goodbye, pointer. I'm an old school guy anyway. So who are we? We are a small business. We just moved to our new headquarters in Grass Valley at 149 Crown Point Circle. We're very excited to have been able to do that because we started life in a little 400 square foot shared working space where we met. Oh, you mean forward, not backwards? Damn it. See, that's why he's a tech guy. I'm the other one. So anyway, so we just had an opportunity to move into a larger space. We're really excited about that. So that's our new address. We are fundamentally a commercial and defense-focused AR/VR developer. We develop systems, solutions, software, that sort of thing. Alex and I are the predominant owners of the company, although we've been doing an investment round lately. So we're beginning to get some other investors. We bootstrapped the company in early 2017 for a grand total of $15,000 and a couple of very patient wives who let us go without salary for a long time. And then we finally managed to start paying ourselves last year after we've got some real revenue coming in, and are just now actually completing a seed round of $700-ish, $750-ish thousand to largely raise operating capital because we've got a number of large contracts we now have to execute, and so that's driving us to bring on some staff and things like that. The phone call I just had actually was somebody accepting a job offer, so I'm excited about that. So Alex, myself, and employee number one have over 50 years of defense industry experience that's relevant to this space, and our mission is really to help our customers, whoever they happen to be, apply these up and coming AR and VR technologies to solve their real world problems. The reason we did it, and this is actually an old slide. This was one that we did in early 2017, and I put it in here. This is really what drove us to do this. We were, my job in particular at my last company is I was essentially the the corporate engineer for a division of a large company. And part of my job was to really look at technology trends and how we would insert new technologies into the product. And we became aware that there was an up and coming wave of adoption, particularly in the augmented reality space, as the technologies matured and began to be deployed. So Alex and I had been with some of the big box companies for a long time, and we got silver hair on our head now, and are we going to do this until we retire, or we're young enough to goof up once, should we try it? So we decided to try it, and that's led us here today. So this was kind of the data and the background that led us to take the jump. We saw an evolving opportunity. So what we've done is leverage some of our technical capabilities and understandings of problems from the defense world, where we came from, where we specialized in building airborne camera systems for taking pictures and looking for bad guys and chasing fugitives, for finding people from things you can't see or whatever, right? So we did a lot of that.
The LA car chases.
Oh, the LA car chases.
Very big market. Car chases.
And you guys have all seen products and systems that we worked on. At one point in time, it is now changing with the advent of drones, but at one point in time, up to maybe 3 or so years ago, the vast majority of aerial footage that you would see on TV was filmed with systems that we made. About 70% of the aerial footage, all the Olympics, Survivor, Swamp People, everybody was using our stuff. So we took that technology and said, look, we can apply that same capability into something like this, which, if you haven't seen it, is the Microsoft HoloLens, is an augmented reality headset. This is really kind of the leading object on the market. And from a technical standpoint, this has the same set of sensors that we would use on a helicopter. So I said, why don't we bring that sort of capability and apply that to the human instead of to the aircraft? So first thing we did on our own, let's see if this wants to play, and let's see if I can drag this over there, is created some software that would do visualization of data sets. So this is Ashford Park over in Auburn, if any of you are familiar with that area. And Alex created a geo-registration capability, and I will try not to throw around $20 words too much, but what that does is allow us to understand all the data points in terms of latitude, longitude, and elevation. So this represents Ashford Park with the terrain data, the lumpy, curvy stuff, right, from the USGS, and then a couple of other data sources for the roads and the power lines. So we can have a nice overview sort of capability, or let's see if it behaves itself and goes to the same place or not. Mouse. Or we can go out there and do it at the park by itself. So with that HoloLens, we can actually go and walk around like we were cruising around walking on a map. So this was all core intellectual property that we developed under our own adventure when we weren't paying ourselves and eating a lot of Taco Bell and ramen. But you can see we're getting very accurate placement, right? That's that pole right there is pole 51. So we've used this as a launch platform to begin to sell our services both into the government and into some of the commercial customers who would have use of this. And on my last slide, I will actually show you a customer's application using that technology. But we don't have to just look at or track fixed things like telephone poles. In this case, I'm standing on the side of the road down in LA, and wait for it, right there is that airplane. So all the commercial aircraft have a transponder, and as long as we have our engine running, we can look up in the sky.
Cessna coming up from the left.
Yeah, you will, right? You got a little Cessna there. You've got, these guys are all on approach to LAX, and you'll see that's their altitude and that's their range from where I'm standing. So we can do it with static devices or moving devices, and everything is running in real time on this little gadget, which is cool. Now, to your comment about the fire, one of the things that we find very compelling is the ability to go into an area after it has been hit by some sort of incident, whether it's a hurricane or a fire or whatever, and we can provide some situational awareness of what used to be there. So in this case, again, it's the same engine running in the background, and the contrast is kind of poor from the color standpoint, but each one of these gold blocks used to be a home. And so we pulled the tax parcel data and calculated the center of the lots, and each one of those is essentially a tag, and as we're walking across the field, we're getting close to it, and that was 3643 Mocha Lane. That's the remnants of the Tubbs fire over in Santa Rosa. Sorry, it was at Coffee Park, it was the Tubbs fire. Right, no worries. But yeah, so there's, the beginning of the reconstruction and stuff. This was obviously, what was this, about 6 months after the fire happened, so they'd already done a lot of the clearing. But our basic mission as a business that we kind of founded it on is to merge the digital world and the physical world. And that, to us, is a very near and dear sort of example. I've got 14 families that lost their homes there. I'm sure everybody here has been impacted by it. So, to us, that is one of the kind of one of the compelling reasons of trying to bring some of these technologies forward and share them, because there's a lot of good stuff you can do with it. Other capabilities, I won't bother playing this video, but we also have a commercial editing software that uses the same sort of basic engine, where we can take high definition video products and then overlay synthetic images on it. Darn it, I will play it just because I'm me. And so what you'll see, this is what it really looks like, and then this is actually the output. And in this use case, people are using it for doing airborne infrastructure inspection. Again, you could tie that back to the fire use case, which is why I decided to play it, because you have to make sure that you've got the vegetation removed from power lines to federally mandated distances. That's actually what this package is being used for. Will you behave yourself? There you go. So pulling it all together, this is our launch commercial customer, is an airfield services company who wanted to go and improve their capability of serving the airports, because airports are a really strange business. Chicago O'Hare, for instance, has, I think he said, 18,000 lights on the main runway. And anytime they have to go and service a light, which is federally mandated, they have no more than 5 minutes to interrupt the flow of air traffic. Otherwise, the airport gets fined by the airlines who get stacked up. So they wanted to find a way to, okay, I've got to change a light, and this thing's 2 miles long, and I got 5 minutes. So with that, we've kind of brought all these technologies together, and I will show you an overview as opposed to the one-to-one view. But this is Hawthorne Airport down there in LA. This was created by taking some LiDAR data, which shows the buildings, and there are 27 different layers of information on the runway, from the signs to the lights to the drainage to the aprons to the what to the what to the what. And with that, we couple both the geo-registration capability, and you saw the airplane taking off, with the moving object capability. So as they start trying to deploy this to large airports, they're looking to be able to understand where the vehicles are, where the aircraft are. They'll have these brief windows when it's open to go out on the runway, and then they get notified to evacuate. And again, using this equipment, it makes it much more efficient and a faster service cycle for the people serving the airports. And let's see if I push the right button. There we go. All right, so our projected journey. I probably should have used these words, but we are a startup in a startup market. And it's been very, very dynamic. We attend AWE, the big trade show. This has been our third year going.
Augmented World Expo.
Augmented World Expo, thank you. And telling me not to use acronyms, I used one. Sorry, I'm bad about that. And every year it's a completely different show, because people like Microsoft were there 2 years ago, they're not there now. Two of the big providers that were there over the last 2 years have now gone out of business. It's a very dynamic environment right now. So, we're a startup in a startup industry. These two charts were actually sent out to attendees of that conference. So this is all 2019 data. This is exactly what it looks like right now. And for what we're doing, honestly, there's very little competition focused on the outdoor applications of this. There is a tremendous, competitive, dust-up going on right now for people fighting over enterprise, for doing digital work instructions, for doing remote inspections and telepresence and things like that. And when we started, that was our original intention. And then we said, this is a crowded space. Let's go do what we know and shut our eyes and jump. And so that's kind of what led us here. And we've been very, very fortunate, because it really has worked. Our backgrounds are a lot of defense contracting, a lot of government service work. And with that, we've won 3 phase 1 SBIRs, the Small Business Innovative Research projects, all with the DoD. One of those was last year. 2 of those were this year. We just have kicked the first one off. The second kickoff's next week. And we just won a phase 2, which is our follow-on from last year. So normally you have about a 12% win rate on those things. And dare I say it, or am I going to screw it up? Yeah. Right now, we've won 3 of the 5 that we've applied for. And we're 1 for 1 on our phase 2. So that's worked. First year we had about 50,000 in sales. We made about 25 in revenue. Last year we did 190 in revenue on about 165 in sales. And actually before the end of Q1, we'd already done 1.3 million in sales this year.
What's the difference between revenue and sales?
Revenue is what we've actually delivered during the year, versus sales, which is booked, because we do a lot of contractual work.
Okay.
So for instance, this phase 2 is a 27-month program.
I got it.
Right. So so we are definitely growing. Based on what happens this year, we might actually hit 1 million in sales this year. I'm not sure yet. So we added our first employee in April. We got a controller who's starting in 2 weeks. I just had a phone call from a developer, and he just accepted, and I'm waiting for one more. And yeah,
6 and we're all set.
yeah, we've gone from 2 to 6 over a period of 3 months, which is kind of crazy. But if we don't, we can't, service our sales, and if you don't have execution excellence, you won't grow your business. It's kind of down to that. So that's it. this is us for now, but we'll have to find a new way to do this once we have everybody else on there. James Kilbride, who we have listed here as our Vice President of Product Development, actually lives in Maryland, which works really well for us. And that's actually something I didn't say. We have chosen to set up the company as a distributed business. We are not co-locating people. You know, our headquarter office is literally just me and Alex and his wife, who helps us part-time on some of the marketing and the proposals and stuff. But it's us and a lab and a bunch of equipment. And you know, we're hiring people and placing them where they are. Number one, to keep the overhead down, but number two, where they want to work, because that is a very common thing that we're seeing, certainly for the, you know, the kind of the people that are a lot younger than me. You know, they want to be able to come to a place like this and work. You know, one of the fellows wanted to make sure he could work at his local coffee shop. I'm like, absolutely. You know, as long as it's sensitive, stuff to it at home, but other than that. So, questions? I'll put it out to you guys.
Is that your only device that you can use?
Yeah, we can run on, so the HoloLens we like because it's got the most kind of complete feature set. But we basically, our core technology, everything can run in VR or on any AR device that's force unity. So for example, Magically, they could run on the less features headsets, they run on a PC, we really don't care that much.
The reason I'm asking is I think you have a tremendous potential marketplace with golf.
Someone else has mentioned golf before also.
Conversation about
Those people are nuts. They'll spend tons of money to get one stroke or something. I don't play golf, but I've observed them spending tons of money for less effective things.
No, we absolutely could. And the thing that, you know, the outdoor applications, you know, as we've been taking this thing out the door, it's one of the key things that, you know, we're not hardware developers. We don't want to make hardware because we've seen the, they take a lot of investment to make a device.
And you could be wrong.
And you could be wrong. And so we've seen so many hardware companies roll in and out of the US. But the main thing you're going to run into is the screen brightness. Is that in outdoor conditions, it can be hard to get easy to watch these screens out. And the second thing is the outdoor positioning. This HoloLens got sensors to know exactly where it is moving around in this room. The part that we bring is the ability to take that and make real world, lat long out coordinates. But then you're going to basically still have registration to the golf course. Now, playing GPS is not going to be good enough. You know, GPS is 4 or 5 meters, which is great when your dot is this big.
Right, but
not
for golf, right? I mean, did I land here? Did I land there? You know.
So we definitely kick it around, or put it around, or whatever you do. I don't know. But as an example of an application that could be used.
Absolutely. Pardon me 1 second. He had his hand up just a second ago, and then I'll bring you guys.
So 2 parts, like super quick, is, you know, what is the vision and ambition for this company? You know, sell it at some point in time or just make it an awesome company? And then 2, you mentioned there are a lot, you know, dynamic industry companies that have come and gone. What makes you uniquely positioned to actually succeed in the environment that it is today?
Sure, both great questions. Number one, the answer is yes. You know, Alex and I both deliberately, number one, left big corporate life to do something different because we both sat close enough to the campfire, we got tired of it. Number two, we're both young enough, I'll put myself in that. Well, I turned 50 in like 8 or 9 days, so I've got this whole young enough thing in my brain. Well, damn it, I'm young enough. You know, we intend to do this for a while. Does that mean that there will be a change of ownership at some point? Who really knows? But we very deliberately bootstrapped the business and have done everything, you know, really ourselves until we got our initial investment right around Christmas time, so that we had control of our destiny, even if that meant making, you know, in this case, half of what we used to make. We would still rather do that than sell out and go back into the machine. Someday, one day, we may either acquire people or you know, divest some of the technology or all of it. I don't really know. But the next 3 to 5 years, we are going to execute on our commitments and we're going to grow this business. That is the near-term plan.
All I will note about taking, you know, we mentioned the, you know, bootstrapping it. We keep talking about, you know, let's go talk to some VCs, get a real sort of investment in there. And one thing that we were very careful to continue to be very careful to do is kind of match what our sort of, what our sum of equity would be to the maturity of the market as a whole. You know,
right.
Virtual reality was going to be the next giant big thing about 3 years ago. And most of those companies craters and burned because they took all the VC money,
360
had a
video.
real content play, 360 video, and no one was buying it. So a lot of those companies are gone now. So we're very closely watching it. We don't want to take a bunch of money for the sake of taking money if it doesn't match what the actual market can bear.
Right. And a lot of that has to do with our personal experiences growing up. You know, the two big box companies we worked for were L3 Communications, which is now L3 Harris or whoever they are, or will be shortly, and then General Dynamics. And, you know, over a 15-year period, we were conditioned by you don't surprise me, you meet your commitments, and you give me an executable plan. That is the way I think, that's the way he thinks. And we see with the frothiness of that market that everybody that was there 2 years ago, half of them are gone. You know, it's a bloodbath right now, and there's no reason to do that. When, you know, to the second half of your question, a very long-winded answer, is that, you know, there are definite use cases out there that need this sort of technology. I can very briefly talk about our first SBR is actually for the Air Force. In their case, they have a very harsh test environment where they test components of things that go really, really fast, to the tune of, you know, some double-digit Mach number, go really, really fast. So it's a very dangerous environment. They actually have to evacuate the entire facility every time they turn it on, because every once in a while it blows up. But their problem is, how do they monitor that remotely just as well as you could go and walk around this? Well, there's no way to do that short of going into a 3D spatial computing environment, which is what we're bringing to them. So there are plenty of problems like that need to be solved. Most of them are going to be either government-driven or enterprise-driven, and you have to be able to not be a content play person in order to have any credibility in that space. And that really is what we bring.
Oh, and once again, they're also, I mean, there is content, you know, advertising and marketing. I mean, I won't do that at all. That's not what we're focusing on.
He's a young guy, and so he's.
I don't know how to do that. You know, I'm not, you know, we haven't done ad work or app creation and stuff like that. That's why we're focusing on what we know is how to integrate disparate bits of information, sensors, technology together, and then bring them into this VR and AR environment. Focusing on what we know and what we know how to do well.
Yeah, that's really the thing. You know, we started thinking, oh, we'll go do work instructions, and that's not us. We fell back to our strengths.
And it's very boring.
You're working with larger companies and government contracts. Do you see yourself working where you can help provide solutions and tools for just an average company, a construction company? Someone with a smaller budget, but that could really use those kinds of tools.
We are focused as time and resources permit, and you know what that's like in a startup. But we are focused on driving forward some product level solutions that will be targeted for, you know, smaller applications. An example being able to use something like this in an outdoor environment for surveying a road or for real estate purposes, things like that. We see applicability there, but right now it is a technology, not a product.
But Team Eagle, for example, our airfield services customer, you know, they have been, you know, selling snowplows and fixing lights for decades. You know, they have a small software team, but they don't know how to do this. And so in that case, we're the guys who are helping them kind of integrate their existing data with AR and VR to make their product much more exciting and innovative, make them seem like the smartest guys in the airfield service industry.
Right. And they're small.
We don't care about that industry. You know, we're not going to get into that. But they are. They need this type of technology. So we'll do small developments, small prototypes that help them drive their part of the industry.
And those were done in $10,000 little sprints. They'd score together the money, we would do something, we'd deliver it, and they'd go and shop it around.
Have you formed any synergy with the GIS Center at Chico State?
Right, we have not. Sounds like a great idea.
They have an amazing amount of data that could be very complementary to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And a global reputation in the States.
Excellent.
I consume data from various places, but I've never really talked to very many people that are really in that business.
Cool. They'll be meeting some CSU people later today. So.
Excellent.
Besides, and by the way,
Yes, ma'am. You're very patient. Thank
Oh,
you.
well, Andrew kind of stole part of my question, so that's why Andrew, I'm very patient. But I have two questions. One, so it sounds like a lot of your projects are more government-based, so how do you acquire those? Are those all personal relationships? Are you guys marketing? I mean, how are they finding, you know?
Dr. Fell.
Here's what we're talking about. Take a break.
Okay.
So the way that we've been getting the government contract is through the Small Business Individual Research Program. This is, are you familiar with that at all?
Not a lot, a little bit.
So what it is basically is a few times a year, about 3 times a year, the government and various agencies, the Department of Defense, a whole bunch of, every agency basically puts out a whole list of stuff that they need. And they have, and every agency under the sun. And the reason why it's great is because they are congressionally mandated to do that. They are required to do these projects. And in fact, it doesn't really come out of their budgets per se, because they have to spend it. So it's like, someone comes with an idea for, oh whatever, I have a problem. They have a bunch of problem statements and a bunch of things they would like to see. And then you turn around, you respond to that, you do a proposal, they score you, and then if that's the case, and then if they decide you're the best, person, you will get the phase 1 award, which is depends on the different, specific group that you're going to, but usually 125, 150K, something like that for the phase 1. So you execute that. It's about a 6 to 9 month program. It varies a little bit. Yeah, you run through that, and then you, like anyone else who won phase 1, is eligible to bid on a phase 2 program, which is, may or may not happen. Sometimes it doesn't work at all in phase 1. They're not going to throw more money at it. But if it does work out, you do it's a phase 2 award. That's a $750 to $1 million over a couple of years to kind of go to the next stage in the program. And then phase 3 is the last phase where they really want to start bringing in funding from somebody else. Go find. We're not going to really give you the money anymore. We're going to help you do it. But that's where you want money from a real program, from another company, something like that. Kind of really commercialize technology. All these SKR programs have a very strong element of, we don't want to just do some work and have it, get some work. You guys need to commercialize this and make this into a real product, because we're not going to just kind of feed you money just for the sake of feeding you money. We want to see you guys succeed.
Right. On their review metric, they claim that 40% of the weight, I don't know if this is true or not, but they claim about 40% of the weight is given to your commercialization plan and your ability to go forward long term.
Yeah.
And the reporting is pretty gruesome.
It's not too bad. For the small business stuff, they run you nuts. Phase 1 is not bad. Phase 1 is not bad. Phase 1 is not bad. Usually, for example, the ones we have now, it's like you want a monthly teleconference, something like that. At the end of it, you write a report, sort of thing, summarizing your findings, and just do what your students say do. It's not too bad for a phase 1, because they recognize that it's going to be small companies, small teams doing the work.
Now phase 2, I'll talk about that, because that honestly, winning this phase 2 is what drove us to go get the operating capital that we are seeking right now. Phase 2 comes with a lot more requirements that are enforced via audits than anything else. So we have to be NIST compliant for cybersecurity. That's a $30,000 audit. We're having to pay them $30,000 to come and check out to see if we can safely secure data. We had to get registered with the State Department, so we're now a defense manufacturer. Two of us. So we have all these reporting requirements to the State Department. We're having a DCAA audit, a financial audit, that's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 weeks, which scares the patootie out of them, because they're going to come and do theirs, because we have to be certified from a accounting and practices standpoint. That's why we're hiring a finance person, things like that. So the paper roll study is very amenable to the smaller business. As they start really looking, do you have legs to go forward? You just have some basic tools you have to have in place, and it is not, it's not cheap to do that, to be totally honest. And the barrier to entry is a little higher than I was anticipating, which is what drove us to the funding round that we're working on right now.
But one thing I will say is that our years of working in that industry, we expected it.
Yeah. We knew it would be something.
We knew it would be something, and we both spent time and took classes on how to write proposals properly. So there's a good portion of that we figured that was easy for us to do, right? Because of our previous experience.
Hi, that was very informal, or informational. Informal too, informational. So basically, someone spends the time to go look through all the things that means, and then you audit all the things.
And you look through half of these things, you look through them, you're like, I have no idea what this is. It's like, I need to, what's it for? A space laser metallurgy study? You're like,
so
keep going.
In the batch that's open right now, there are, I think, it's north of 200 that the Navy has out right now, and we're applying to 2 of those. We had to review all of those, and we actually created a process for how we do this. We do it individually, where I do it my way, Alex does it his way, James does his way. We feed it all into one common spreadsheet blindly, and then we get together on the bat phone, because James is in Maryland, do a video conference, and then we reveal the spreadsheet, and we say, yeah, what were you thinking? Why did you want to do that? And we somewhat democratically convince ourselves we either should or shouldn't spend the effort to do this, because a proposal costs us about 200 hours of effort. And a lot of that is running around the parking lot, gathering some data, so we've got some extrapolation to point to evidence that this is not just waving your hands around, this is something we could do. The Air Force job that we did, we bought a series of webcams, and we put a little Lego man and some other things, and we took pictures of it, and we used Pop-Tart boxes and duct tape to put it together, and that was in our proposal, right? But we showed that it could be done, and you could integrate this.
Like, we got a big idea what we're talking about here, here's proof of concept, please give us more money, we think we can do this for you.
But I'll give a piece of advice for anybody choosing or wanting to play the SBR game, or at least this piece of it. We found that really, really helps. Spending your effort of taking your idea and proving one piece of it, and having that in your proposal. We were just this one that we're getting ready to start for the Defense Health Agency. There were 30 responses to that, and they said we had the top-rated proposal. And in there's a picture of me and him laying on the floor with his wife to it, and the computer's doing something to our bodies and following our pose for something he created as the core proof of evidence that we can do their job.
And quite frankly, it's funny because none of us have ever worked in the medical industry whatsoever. Nope. I was at another event at Microsoft a few months ago. I was talking to them, oh yeah, we do medical healthcare stuff. I'm like, oh, we just won this SBIR. I was like, oh, we didn't win this SBIR. Felt really bad for a couple seconds. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, so I was wondering, this is awesome. I've known about you guys for a while. I'm really excited that you have been able to get some government contracts as well. Would you be interested or willing, maybe when you have your next employee, to provide input into education programs at Chico State, Butte College, Sierra College, around AR, VR?
Sure.
And that would be awesome. I know how busy you must be, but we have these programs. Daniel over there runs the Makerspace at Butte College, and he has, how many HoloLenses do you have?
We have 5.
5 HoloLenses, and he and I kind of talked, how do we bring in more tech into the Makerspace, especially around cybersecurity?
Okay.
So that would probably be a good place to maybe start. I don't know, you have no idea, you're just...
And I will, since the man works for me, as opposed to my co-founder
Yeah, I figured
here,
you'd be volunteering.
this guy right here is fantastic. James has got a PhD in computer science, and he's got an MBA specializing in disruptive innovation. And he ran the cyber business for General Dynamics for a couple of years.
Oh, yay.
It was about $150 million a year business. And then he transitioned to be the lead for AR/VR technologies across all of GE. And I've known James for a few years, and we supported them on a bid opportunity last year that they did not win. Microsoft won, but oh well. And out of that, James contacted us, I don't know, 2 months later or so, and said, John, you're doing it really cool, and you were running way faster than the big companies can run. Is there a place in your team?
And then it'll pay less, so it'll be more work. He said, I'll take it.
He did. I'll be totally transparent here. He took about a 50% pay cut, and he's made an investment in the business. I mean, he's actually, participated in our debt funding because he believes, and he gets an ownership stake, of course. But that has really helped build a lot of credibility with our other investors of saying, okay, here's an industry-known person who's buying in. And by the way, you guys have a disproportionate win record right now. Great, I'll come invest in that too. So that really, some of it was, planning on our part, but a lot of this was some good fortune and really the timing of the government needs that we could meet. And, that's that, 1 out of 10 businesses make it to year 3 or whatever, and that was kind of our path how we did.
One more, that's it.
Anybody other than?
Anyone but Andrew?
Going once, going twice? Sold Andrew.
So is the plan to continue to focus on defense over the long term? I mean, it's a core element of the business today, but do you see more opportunities to go outside of the defense industry as the market matures?
We do. We see substantial opportunities outside of the defense industry. I mean, for now, we will continue to serve it because it has brought us the bread that we're eating, if you will. But every one of these SIBRs has a very strong commercialization content to it. The one with the Air Force, we see direct applicability into some of the oil field services, as an example. The Defense Health Agency, actually, funny enough, my brother, who's a radiologist, is a contributing person onto that program. And we see applicability out into the broad medical. Again, things based in the home. And yeah, absolutely. And, just because, my badges personally were in some of the big box contractors, I'm far more interested in doing some of the things that either prevent people from getting hurt, like they don't have to peek in the port of the thing that might blow off, right? We're solving that problem. The Defense Health Agency thing that we're doing is a rapid response kit for medics, so that when they respond to somebody, not just a warfighter who's injured, but particularly children, because a lot of the indigenous populations have, kids that get wounded or they step on a mine or something, building falls down or bad stuff that happens in combat zones. And the medics are usually the first ones there, but they rarely treat children. So part of that is to have, faster cues and diagnosis tools to help the patient and help them survive that first, 20 minutes faster. I'm far more interested in that than, rolling that into the paramedics or, how do you clean up after the next Katrina with some of the situational awareness things like we showed you. That really is kind of my long-term vision of where I want the company to go. You have a practical reality of having to pay your staff along the way, and we'll find a balance with that. No. Again, apologies for rambling, because that was a really fast 6 minutes. Thank you all for your attention and forbearance, and we're here for a while, so we'll be happy to, if people want to see demonstrations, Alex, that's what the setup if you want to hang out. And, Travis, you're not going anywhere.
Thank you. Definitely get a mug today. That's right. So thank you for coming all the way from Grass Valley and presenting and hanging out. And I look forward to seeing more about you in the news article. Yeah. So we want to thank everyone for showing up today. All our sponsors, our organizers, and do we have any local events happening? College, chamber?
Yeah, June 19th.
June 19th.
June 19th, the Young Professional Organization is having a mixer at Hong Kong at Colton Avenue. It's $10 because there's lots of wine and food and fun. So if you're a young professional or another young professional, so
Is it open to the public, or do you have to be like a certain age?
It's open to the public. It's $10 if you're a chamber member, $15 if you're not a chamber member. YPO member.
Okay.
But
Is it a fundraiser?
so if you want to come with me, you can be my guest, and we'll. But
Is it a fundraiser or just a mixer for the way?
it's just mixers for the lineup. Yeah. The $10 or the $15 helps to cover the overhead.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for your time. Hope to see you next week. And do we have someone on there for next weekend?
I'm working.
So, same time, same place next week, Wednesday at 9. Thank you, everybody. Thought it'd be awesome.
All right, go play with headsets.